Have you ever felt like the sleep training methods you were taught don't quite align with the real needs of the families you're supporting? Maybe you've seen success with some clients, but for other clients, the approach doesn't quite align with their parenting values, or you just don't see consistent results. If that resonates with you, you're not alone. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 4-step process to transform from being a mainstream sleep trainer to a holistic sleep coach. Stick with me until the end because all these steps are important if you're looking to make a lasting and powerful impact with the families you serve. And if you're serious about supporting families in a way that's gentle and responsive, then click the link below to book a call with one of our team and see if we're a good fit to work together at the Holistic Sleep Coaching Program. I'm Lindsay and I'm proud to have trained over 600 fabulous professionals in 47 different countries through the Holistic Sleep Coaching Program, the most comprehensive evidence-based sleep program for those who want to support families gently with sleep. If you're here, I know it's because you're passionate about helping families. You saw the sleeplessness and desperation from people around you, and you urgently wanted to be able to help. So you took a course in sleep training. Heck, maybe you were that desperate parent, or maybe you previously used some sleep training and it worked well for you. Maybe you later have reservations or find it just doesn't work for all families. Does this mean you're now stuck with a non-responsive sleep training toolkit that you can't pull back from? One of our graduates, Susie, can relate to this issue. She used a mainstream trained sleep consultant who implemented a sleep program that worked for their child, and she was so inspired that she trained as a sleep consultant with the same provider, but later found there were big gaps and they had basically got lucky. As she put it, on experiencing the sleep training program from the other side, I could see it was a one-size-fits-all solution and that we had simply been lucky to have had a child who responded well. Because we had a healthy child with an appropriate temperament, we were able to use the gradual retreat in a responsive way. Had there been other issues, the advice would always have been to respond less, with the fault being on the parent if their child didn't then conform and start to sleep independently. Realising this, I could see immediately that there were many elements of the programme which I did not feel comfortable with. They did not align with my parenting approach and philosophy, and I always left those tools and techniques out of my own practice. My reservations increased as I started working with more clients and found that while the approach worked with many of them, where it didn't work, we hadn't really been given appropriate alternatives. I also did not feel we'd been given adequate tools and knowledge to identify and support potential medical problems. This felt deeply concerning. Susie went on to complete the Holistic Sleep Coaching Program with us and found what she was looking for, to be able to provide a service she's proud of to families in a way that aligns with both her parenting philosophy and that of the clients she serves. We're so proud of her and many others like her because it takes enormous grit to recognise that something isn't right, and even more grit to do something about it. Susie isn't alone either. So many sleep consultants start out with that fabulous mindset of wanting to help tired and vulnerable families, and yet find that the approach they were trained with has gaps, doesn't sit right, or fails to meet the needs of families. But many people feel like after they've committed to a particular program, made a financial investment, and joined an alumni of graduates of a sleep training school, that they're kind of in it for the long haul. What do they do? Do they stick with it because of the emotional and financial outlay? Or do they bail? If you went down a sleep training route in good faith only to realise that this isn't for you, it's not like this choice is in your DNA. If you previously used some sleep training, we're not here to judge or claim any kind of moral high ground. The fact is, we know that some parents want a sleep trainer, others don't. We're here to provide that alternative, responsive option, not to force our ideas or opinions onto others. So hopefully, you've guessed by now that the first step is to identify the difference between sleep training and holistic sleep coaching. This might sound obvious on the face of it, but let me explain what I mean. Many people think that they can offer gentler solutions alongside non-responsive sleep training, kind of like going to a department store and being able to get whatever you want from a variety of different places all under the same roof. While it might seem sensible or convenient to offer parents a choice, there are two problems with this. First, a holistic approach to sleep is fundamentally different. It's not a bolt-on. A holistic approach isn't about an extra 5 or 6 gentle strategies up your sleeve. Holistic means every part of who we are as humans, physically, emotionally, psychologically, developmentally, and so on. And all of that is integrated and affected by the other parts. Check out our earlier video on what holistic really means in the description below. Second, it puts parents off. If a parent is truly invested in a gentle and holistic approach, the very fact that you offer non-responsive options alongside the gentler ones will be a red flag for them. That's because parents are savvy and they know that the training of a mainstream sleep trainer and a holistic sleep coach is different. Offering both options also subtly suggests that you're not as committed to this approach as someone who is all in. When you only provide a holistic approach to sleep, parents have more confidence that your values align with theirs. But is it all plain sailing once you decide to choose an alternative sleep education provider and approach? Nope. You'll need to be willing to have an open mind. This is much easier said than done. There are so many parts of mainstream sleep education that are passed along from practitioner to practitioner and never really questioned. It's often easier for our brains to go along with the mainstream paradigm because it's so familiar. The common myths that abound in mainstream sleep training include promoting 12 hours sleep per night from a young age, early bedtimes for all, offering set wake windows, blaming a variety of waking patterns on overtiredness. See our earlier video on this. Thinking that sleep breeds sleep, assuming that long stationary naps are more restorative. We have a video debunking this myth too, and lots of strange ideas about melatonin and cortisol. I could go on. Even hearing that these ideas aren't evidence-based can be challenging. You'll really need to open your mind and be willing to hear the alternative narrative. And of course, what that alternative narrative means is that you'll need to be prepared for some unlearning. Some of the mainstream sleep training narratives have limited, or in some cases, no evidence base. And with us, you'll learn all about sleep science and strategies that are backed by evidence. Some of this will contradict what you've been taught before. This is undoubtedly what you knew all along was missing, but it can still feel pretty uncomfortable. Our earlier video, which goes into the process of unlearning, is linked in the description below as well. You'll need to prepare to systematically challenge some of the fundamentals you were taught. As I mentioned in the previous step, this means that many of the things you were taught as fact may unravel. This is psychologically very difficult, as well as requiring a lot of concentration to discern where the differences, holes, and fact gaps are. It takes a lot of humility to learn in a new way. The good news is that everyone I've ever spoken to who has gone through this process has said that sleep science finally made sense when they heard the evidence-based version. Many people who were taught something that wasn't backed up in science have lingering questions, and when they asked their previous tutor to explain something, the answer was usually it just is. When they choose to study the holistic way, the answer is never it just is. We provide the evidence and the rationale and join up the pieces of information so they make sense. The final step is an exciting one. By this time, you will be fully convinced that this is the way forward, so you'll need no convincing that the sleep science that now makes sense is what you need to be promoting. But there may still be a lot of work to do. If you've previously offered a more mainstream approach, you'll need to go through all your social media, your website content, and any other resources or materials you provide families with, and check that it all aligns. Your packages and promises may need tweaking. Your support may need a subtle adjustment. When holistic takes over, you'll be rightly proud of your comprehensive sleep knowledge, and you want to make sure everyone knows this is how you operate. Because trust me, there are thousands of parents looking specifically for sleep coaches who truly embrace this approach, so you don't want to hide it. The good news is that if you've had that nagging doubt that maybe sleep training isn't for you and isn't what your clients are asking for, You've already done the hardest part. That first step of acknowledging that maybe you need to choose an alternative is huge. And the message, if this is something that you can relate to, is that it's never too late to pick a different path. At the Holistic Sleep Coaching Programme, we're proud to support people who have come to this approach via many different routes, and we do so with empathy and compassion. To start your journey with us, all you need to do is book a call. And if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Speak to you soon.